Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Creative Beast Studio Beasts of the Mesozoic 1/18th scale Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let's get into it! Let's start things off by trying to take a look at this really massive packaging, and it's hard to really tell how humongous this packaging is without a frame of reference. And here I have on my desk right now the Marvel Legends series Zombie Captain America, so you can see it's really, really big. I'm not just zoomed into it or anything like that. This thing is big. Even at 1/18th scale, which of course is not a scale I generally collect anymore. But this thing just looked incredible, and I picked this up while I was at Joe Fest. But let's take a look at the top of the packaging. Warning! Don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Adult collectible, ages 15 and up. Beasts of the Mesozoic dinosaur action figure. And Creative Beast Studio. And dinosaur action figure. And then we have where the window starts here on the top, and it does carry around to the front. And there's a nice big window showcasing most of the dinosaur. And you can see his tail is down here and the rest of him up here, and we'll see what's in the rest of the package in just a few minutes. But Beasts of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then some nice T-Rex artwork going on right here. And see if we can get the bottom of the front of the packaging here. And then we've got, I'm guessing this is like a Tyrannosaurus footprint. And then Tyrannosaurus series 1/18th scale, or 1/18 scale. Now let's see if I can spin this around just a little bit and kind of get this side. And this thing is so big, it's taken up a lot of real estate in my review area. So here we have, you can see on the side here, Tyrannosaurus Rex 1/18th scale, and then the window from the front also wraps around to this side, so you can kind of get a front on view of the T-Rex and what it might look like when he's coming to eat you off the toilet if you're a lawyer. And then down here on the bottom, Beasts of the Mesozoic, and that's how big it is. I'm looking through the camera and I didn't even realize how close my hand was to the box. So we can slide that back a little bit there now. Maybe we can get everything in shot. Probably not. It's close. So here on the top, we've got Tyrannosaurus Rex 1/18 scale dinosaur action figure, Beasts of the Mesozoic. And then here, let's bring that in so we can see this print real good. And I'm wrinkling my green screen all up. The most famous dinosaur of all time, Tyrannosaurus Rex, was among the largest land predators to ever exist, despite it having the strongest estimated bite force of any terrestrial animal. There's been plenty of debate about whether or not it was a scavenger or a hunter, and it was probably both. And then we've got some dinosaur stats here. Length up to 12.4 meters or 40.7 feet. Weight 7,000 kilograms or 15,000 pounds. Location, Western North America. Time period, Late Cretaceous. Discovered in 1902 by Barnum Brown. And the features of the figure: 22 points of articulation, massive 27-inch long action figure, optional fixed pose standing legs, 3 sets of interchangeable feet, posable wire in the end of the tail segment, 2-part base for different posing options, sturdy metal foot pins for the base. Some assembly is required. Collect all of the Wave 1 Tyrannosaurs. And here we have the cross sale. The Gunalong Wukai. I'm going to mispronounce all of these, so. Dilong Paradoxus. The 1/35th scale Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this is 1/18th scale. This is a 1/6 scale. And here we have 1/18th scale Uranus Holy and the 1/18th scale juvenile T-Rex. And then here we have the footprint again. Tyrannosaurus series, or Tyrannosaur series. Creative Beast Studio, from the prehistoric to the fantastic. And this, so far, is a fantastic figure, and I like this packaging. And of course, I have this upside down, so let me try and get it turned around so we can take a look at what's on the bottom of the packaging. Here we have the design by David Silva, sculpt by Jake Barros, and again, I apologize if I mispronounce things. I'm just going by how I was taught, and the way it looks is the way I'm going to try and sound it out. So if I do mispronounce your name, I do sincerely apologize. So prototypes were by Jeremy Mons, package art RJ Palmer, and packaging by Stephen Melick. Join the dinosaur toy revolution. creative-beast.com for more product info. Symbols I'm not going to learn except for that one. I know that one. Don't give it to babies. 2022, David Silva, Creative Beast Studio LLC, and he's in Hackensack, New Jersey. So I'm really glad that Superman diverted that missile that was headed to Hackensack. So that's a good thing. Now we see why it was a good thing. Creative Beast Studio, from the prehistoric to the fantastic, and then their logo here, I think. And of course, the barcode, and you can see some of my mess over there in the corner. Made in China print. That, my friends, is a really long look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and the accessories. And first off, let's take a look. It comes with a little direction piece, which is kind of important. And it tells you how to pop the tail on and switching out the lower legs and putting together the stand and using the stand. And if you want to pause it on these and take a look at them in detail, you can do that. So there's that. Even tells you how to point the base. It also comes with this collector card, I guess, and it's a picture of a Tyrannosaurus. You can see some pterodons there in the background, or pterodactyls as we used to call them back in the day. And it says Beasts of the Mesozoic right there. And then on the back, a nice product shot. Beasts of the Mesozoic, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Tyrant Lizard King, and there's his specs and stuff there. If you want to read that, you can pause it right here and do that. The art is by RJ Palmer and Creative Beast Studios print. So there's that. And moving right along, he does come with some extra feet. There's 4 sets of feet in total. And you can see they've got a nice big port in there. Tons and tons of scaly little details. And the paint is phenomenal. And that holds throughout this entire thing, even the bottom of the foot. Look at all that detail. And there's a left and a right for each set. And then the next one you have is kind of toes up. Same port. Same level of detail and paint. And my goodness. Look how shiny that black on the claws is. Very, very cool. And then next up, it does come with a set of more posable legs. The difference in these is it has joints at the ankle and the lower knee, or I reckon that's his only knee. And then it ports him. Well, that's not his only knee because that's his upper knee. So it would plug in right. It takes the place of this piece right here from this knee down. And it has articulation up here where it posts in, and of course it wants to be difficult and not do. It's very tight. I may have to heat this up if I ever put it on here. Mostly this is going to be in the display, so I'm not going to be using these as much, but these are more for dynamic posing for photo shoots and stuff. So at this knee, you know, it works pretty well. It's also a single hinge and swivel, so it does swivel 360 degrees. And then at the ankle, it swivels 360 degrees as well. And it will point, or it'll tilt down that far. It'll tilt up that far. And it does have some rocker in there as well. And there's a left and right one of these. And again, just look at the detail and the paint detail on this. I mean, it's fantastic. It's just very, very cool. And then here's the other leg. The other posable, or more posable leg. And it's, you know, this one moves a little better than the other one, so you can see it has a pretty good range of motion. Don't want to go all the way down though. So very nice pieces that it comes with that. Also, here is the stand, and it does come in 2 pieces. You can see where it separates right there, and this clip right here just goes in the middle to put those together. This is the front, and you can see it's got the posts on here, and they are metal posts, which is good because this thing is hefty. It does have a lot of weight. And again, just that same level of detail and paint just all up on this thing. Just cool. Now the main event, the dinosaur itself. And as far as everything I said before about the level of detail and the sculpt, I mean, not only is this guy scaly, he's wrinkly. Look at all those folds in his skin. And again, the deco on it is just phenomenal. Let's get a good look at that head. Look at those eyes. Just, oh my gosh. This guy is great. And I know usually I don't collect 1/18 scale stuff, but this T-Rex is so, I know I've said it a lot, incredible, that I decided to get it. And this is not the only piece that I have picked up from Creative Beasts, but I will say this one is probably, well, next to the Cyberzoic Kuro Okami dragon, this is probably, you know, it's my second favorite piece. And if you haven't watched that review, it's in there. Just look for the Creative Beast Studios playlist. Look at all that detail. It's just, it's incredible. I could go on and on and on and on and on about it, but let's stop going on and on about it and just take a look at some of the articulation. So he does have jaw articulation, and again, we do have to take a look inside the mouth because there are deco, hey, stop snapping, it's deco apps in there, and it's a nice glossy paint in there so that it looks moist in there, like a mouth, I guess, is supposed to look. And you can see his tongue in there, and guess what? Gotta get some handy dandy tweezers in there because my fat fingers don't like to do it. But the tongue is on a ball joint, and it is posable and movable, and that is just, again, the paying attention to the details, and that is, it's cool. Even his little ear things here. So at the head, you know, there's not a whole lot going on there up and down wise, and even in the neck you get a little up and down in the neck there, and it does have some left and right to it. So the range isn't super duper in there, but you can get a little bit of stuff going on there. Now next up, he's got his little hands here, and he's got, you know, a joint right here. It's a hinge and swivel, so it swivels around 360 degrees, goes up about that far and down about that far. Again, single hinge and swivel at his little elbow, and it swivels around 360 degrees. It'll go up that far, down that far, and then here at the shoulder part, I guess it's on a, I'm guessing it's on a dumbbell, so it's got some rotation there. It will swivel around 360 degrees, and it comes out that far. I know it's hard to see, my camera keeps trying to focus on the snout when I turn it that way. So he also has a cut right here, and it gives you a little bit of movement, but it's not a whole lot. Either that or mine needs to be heated up or something. So it gives a little bit of up and down, and maybe just a slight bit of left and right there. And then we get to the hips, and they don't really, you get a little bit of the split so he can spread his legs out a little bit, and then the forward movement on the leg comes about that far to his rib cage, it looks like, and then back isn't much, it's about that far. At least that's what I can get out of mine. And then these are the display legs, and at that knee it can move forward that far. And let's see if I can get it back. And there I go bumping the camera, because of course it's a Digital Caveman Presents review. And it'll go back about that far. And then I did say these feet swapped out, but they don't. So there's 3 sets of swappable feet, and then the ones that are permanently attached on here, which makes sense because he doesn't have any ankles. And here's the tail, and it is on a dumbbell, so you can shift it up and down a little bit here. It'll turn that far, and it'll turn that far. And I realize I'm not really doing this figure much justice the way that I'm showing it. It'll go up that far, and it will go down that far. But that's not all, folks. It's jointed. Has a joint here and here, and that's it. So this joint is similar to this ball joint. It doesn't really get any up and down, but it does get you some left and right. It does get a little bit of twist, not very much though. And then this one at the end, and a little more twist. It'll go up and down as well as this one will go up and down a little bit. So you do have some posability in the tail, which is really, really cool. And I'm glad it's not just like, oh, we'll just slap a like bendy tail on there. No, let's not do that. And there you have it, my friends. A sort of best I can do inadequate look at the figure and his accessories. It's just it's big, and it's too big for my display area, and it's kind of heavy too. So it's not quite as heavy as a Titans class Transformer, or maybe it weighs the same, but it's very compact, so there's not a lot of hollow in it. But this is a fantastic piece. And that, my friends, is again an inadequate on my part look at a fabulous dinosaur. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Creative Beast Studios, Beasts of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaurus Rex. With from X-Ray Studios, Combatants Fight for Glory, Gold Hilder. For a 1/18th scale comparison, Hasbro Star Wars The Vintage Collection, Lando Calrissian. And from Mattel Creations, The Masters of the Universe, Chronicles, King Grayskull. Here we have the Creative Beast Studios, Beasts of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaurus Rex. With from the Four Horsemen Studios, the Mythic Legions, Legendary Barbarian. From Harbinger Studios, Savage Crucibles, Nashorn, the Disinherited. And from Boss Fight Studios, Epic Hacks, Red Sonja. For our last set of comparisons, here we have the Creative Beast Studios, Beasts of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaurus Rex. With from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final ramblings on the Creative Beast Studios Beasts of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaurus Rex 1/18th scale figure, I have to say, you know, this thing really overwhelms expectations when it comes to the sculpt and the decos, and I think that that is really where Creative Beast Studios excels. And I would have liked a little better range of motion on some of the joints. You know, the tail actually works really, really well. A couple of more joints in there would have been nice, but not super necessary. I would have liked the jaw to open just a little bit wider, but again, that's just my preference. And then a little more range of motion in the neck and stuff. The legs, at the hips, you know, a little bit better range would have been nice too. But I understand all of that is limited by the sculpt. And I think Creative Beast Studios opts to cut some of the range of movement in favor of the sculpt. And as well as these things are sculpted, I completely understand that. I really do. Because this thing looks phenomenal, and it will pose pretty good if you're using it for photography or whatnot. It does pose pretty good. Now again, 1/18 scale is not my general scale of collecting anymore. It used to be, you know, I used to be Star Wars. Just 3 3/4 was my thing, and for a long time, that's all I collected. And then, you know, Toy Biz came out with the Spider-Man Classics and then Marvel Legends, and that pretty much put me on the road to 1/12 scale, which is what I mostly collect now. I'll pick up 1/18 stuff here and there. Not counting Transformers, that stuff is approximate 1/32 scale now. In most cases, not in every case. And I'm talking about Hasbro mainline Transformers. So, you know, this is a little smaller scale, not smaller figure though, but a little smaller scale than what I normally collect. But it's just so, I couldn't pass it up. And actually, I didn't purchase this. My wife purchased this for me at Joe Fest for our wedding anniversary and tried to surprise me with it. But it didn't quite work out that well for that, because she, you know, handed it to me to carry out of Joe Fest. So there is that. I probably would not have purchased this myself. Not because I didn't like it. I did like it, and I went back several times and looked at it. But the price, I can understand how some collectors, the price of this is prohibitive. And I certainly can't collect a lot of them, because my hands are in, you know, all the cookie jars. But I do believe it's a good value. What they charge for their product, I think, is a good value for what you get, because this thing is solid. There is not a lot of hollowness going on, especially in the main part of the body. It's hefty, and you can, when you pick it up, you can tell it's hefty. It's not an insubstantial piece, and that's not just because of the size, but because of how solid it is. And these things are solid. And well, I'm gonna take a look at some of the other ones, and even the smaller dinosaurs are still solid. They might not weigh as much as this guy, but they're still very, very solid, and I like that about this. And in fact, the gosh, I can't think of his name. But the guy who runs Creative Beast, owns Creative Beast, you know, he like gives these things to his kids apparently, and 2, 3, 4 years later, they're still taking a licking and keeping on ticking. So that there's something to be said for that too. So, you know, it's not only about your cost, but it's quality too. So I think this is a very quality piece, and all the stuff that I've gotten from Creative Beast is very high on quality, at least to me. Your opinion, you know, your mileage may vary. That's my opinion. Yours can vary, and that's okay. But I feel like this is a very, very good piece. It's well built. It's solid. It just, again, my opinion is I would have liked a little bit more range of movement in most of the joints. But I do like that it comes with, you know, display legs and posing legs. That's really cool, I think. And the stand having metal posts in it is cool as hell, especially because of the weight of this guy. It really needs metal pegs. And I will say this is, you know, I bought this 3 years ago. Why it's taken me so long to get to the review, I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. And it stands on my shelf pretty darn well. There's once or twice I've had to readjust it or pick it up. But 90% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time, this guy does not move unless bumped. So there is that. So Creative Beast Studios, high quality, high sculpt and high paint. Just not, at least on this figure, not as posable as I would like. Now the Kuro Okami was quite posable, and some of the other ones that I have are pretty posable, a little bit more, well, I won't say posable, but range of movement wise they have more in it, and that's okay. But you know, that's something I would have liked, but you know, it, for what I'm using it for, which is basically standing on the shelf, it doesn't need that much range of movement, but it's always nice to have. And gosh, look at that guy's eye. Anyway, well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.